Welcome back. Well, the Biden agenda reaches his 6th month in office. There is record inflation. Crime is skyrocketing from coast to coast. And we are witnessing perhaps the worst border crisis in U.S. history. All while our enemies in China, Russia, and Iran are gaining greatly. Oil prices doubling, sanctions down. The 46th president took on these issues and more last Wednesday night during a CNN town hall with Don Lemon. Here's a sampling.
Think of the people. If your kid wanted to find out whether or not there's a man on the moon or whatever, something, or, whether those aliens are here or not, I don't care if you think I'm Satan reincarnated. The fact is, you can't look at that television and say nothing happened on the 6th. The question is whether or not we should be in a position where you why can't the experts say we know that this virus is in fact it's going to be, or excuse me, we know why all the drugs approved are not temporarily approved but permanently approved.
That was President Biden this week. Joining me right now is Congressman Devin Nunes. He's the ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
How's President Biden doing at the 6-month mark? Assess the performance.
Well, it's getting bad when the propaganda machine that the Democratic Socialists control in this country, they control 95% of the media or so. And then you take the big tech oligarchs that control and censor what we receive via social media. When that poison gets to the average independent American, that propaganda, it's bad when they can't even find a 15 or 30-second soundbite out of a full hour town hall that they can plug into their own propaganda machine. I mean, it's getting really bad. It's not just the president. They can't get any sound bites from the vice president either. They're almost to the point, Maria, where they're going to have to start using computer-generated graphics in order to give to the propaganda machine because they can't get good clips to sell what they're trying to sell here in Washington, which are policies that are running the country into the ground.
Well, the foreign policy certainly has empowered some of our adversaries. Oil prices having doubled, enriching Vladimir Putin and the Iranians, China as well. I mentioned earlier that earlier in July, Biden's DHS threw out Trump's crackdown on several researchers from China. They overturned the foreign visa investigation. No charges there. Your thoughts on what's taking place in China and how the U.S. is reacting? Big story in terms of the crackdown coming from the CCP.
Well, I defined, I think, on your show a few months ago, you asked, I think, to describe the Biden foreign policy, and I described it as speak really, really loud, but carry a twig. So remember, earlier in this week, we had an example where the United States, with our allies, went out and said very loudly that the Chinese Communist Party was engaged in cyber intrusions and cyber attacks. And they said, oh, bad guys. Well, meanwhile, then a few days later, out of nowhere, these Chinese spies, somehow that were supposed to be prosecuted, are released and they drop the charges. So how is that working? What's happening here? And then, look, I think an issue that people are not paying attention to, the left in this country, they run around with their propaganda saying, oh, we really care about democracy and human rights. Well, just last week, you had Xi Jinping, the Chinese dictator, on the border with India in Tibet, claiming victory. This was the first time in 30 years, I believe, that a Chinese dictator had been to Tibet. And also threatening India, over 1 billion people, also a nuclear power, threatening India that he's going to build a big water project to possibly cut off water to India. So no matter what you plug into the propaganda machine, you can build all the narratives you want here in Washington, D.C., but then there's reality. And the reality is the Chinese are on the march, and the Biden administration is letting them do whatever they want. They make a big deal about it, they put it in the propaganda, they speak really loud, and then they do absolutely nothing.
Meanwhile, you've got Tony Podesta now taking on a new gig, going to be representing Huawei. The Trump administration told us that Huawei is a national security risk. What is going to come out of this? Tony Podesta gets to represent one of our adversarial companies, Huawei, who's been stealing intellectual property for decades from American companies. But Hunter Biden is okay to sell art. Yeah.
Well, maybe the Chinese will come in and buy the art. Maybe that's why they don't want someone to know who's actually buying the art. And don't forget, in that same region, we have. I look at it this way. I was taught that the U.S. military, they're supposed to do three basic things, right? Win wars, provide deterrence, and not get involved in politics. But what's happening here? We have al-Qaeda growing in Afghanistan. Meanwhile, I think it's going to be very difficult for us to even control our embassy in Kabul. So, and I'm not saying that we need to stay in Afghanistan forever, but the military ought to be focusing on what happened. Why are we not winning that war? Why is al-Qaeda on the march? Secondly, deterrence. You've got the Chinese doing cyber intrusions, claiming victory in Tibet, et cetera, et cetera. And then meanwhile, not getting involved in politics, you've got the chairman of the Joint Chiefs getting involved in critical race theory. And then you have the General Nakasone in charge of the NSA who purged Republicans from the top ranks of the nation's signal intelligence agency.
That's right. And that happened on January 20th, on Inauguration Day. So we understand that while all of these things are going on, what is the NSA doing? They're unmasking and spying on Tucker Carlson, a Fox News host. Here's Tucker from Mornings with Maria a week ago. Watch.
Yesterday, I learned that, and this is going to come out soon, that the NSA leaked the contents of my email to journalists in an effort to discredit me. I know because I got a call from one of them saying, oh, this is what your email was about. So it is not in any way a figment of my imagination. It's confirmed. It's true. They're not allowed to spy on American citizens. They are. I think more ominously, they're using the information they gather to put leverage and to threaten opposition journalists, people who criticize the Biden administration. It's happening to me right now. And I think it's shocking. And I don't think we should put up with it in a free country.
Congressman, Fox News put out a statement about this, saying for the NSA to unmask Tucker Carlson or any journalist attempting to secure a newsworthy interview is entirely unacceptable and raises serious questions about their activities as well as their original denial, which was widely misleading. I know that you have been tasked with investigating this. I know you can't tell us much on that investigation at this point. What can you say about what we are learning at the NSA?
Well, if you go back, the Obama administration, which essentially the Biden administration is a extension of the Obama administration. I've said for a long time that Biden and Harris are just an avatar for Obama. And in fact, these aren't my words, Maria. Obama himself admitted that 90% of his people are there in the White House to carry out and be Obama's third term. So you go back during that time frame, there was unmasking that was occurring. They were being leaked to the mainstream media back during the Iran nuclear deal. We know all the unmaskings that occurred of Trump transition officials. We made that well known at the time. Changes were supposed to be made in our intelligence agencies on unmaskings. So, look, we don't know what's happening over at the NSA. We clearly do not trust General Nakasone, who's under investigation by our committee on multiple fronts. I mean, most importantly, that he politicized the agency by firing Republicans or putting them under phony investigations and then basically forcing them to resign. And now you have the situation with unmasking of American journalists. We're investigating that. I don't have really anything at this point that I can say, but I can just tell you that the House Republicans are running a real investigation.
Yeah, well, we've got politicization at the NSA and politicization at the FBI, politicization at the IRS. Congressman, we're counting it all. It's good to get your insights, as always. Congressman Devin Nunes, stay with us, the Silicon Valley executive who wants to help the GOP take the Senate back in 2022. He's next.